All right, we'll call this meeting of the regular meeting of the City Council to order. We'll be led in invocation by Pastor Gail Brooks of First United Methodist. Follow that with a pledge to the flag. Would you please stand?
I pledge allegiance. Oh, we want to do the prayer first?
Yeah, the invocation.
I'm sorry. Okay, let us pray. We thank you, God, for this beautiful day and for all of the many blessings that we have received. We thank you for our community and for all who serve it, for those who teach and those who protect, for those who clean and those who repair, for those who work in parks and those who work on roads, for those who plan and those who make plans happen, for those who heal and those who counsel, for those who govern and for those who elect. We thank you for our community, and we pray for all in our community who are homeless, who are hungry, who are unemployed. We pray for all in our community who are mentally or physically ill. We pray, oh God, for the dying and the mourning, and we pray for all who live in a situation in which they fear for their lives. As this meeting begins this evening, we pray for each person here. Give each person wisdom, creativity, compassion, integrity. Give them wisdom and listening ears and thoughtful words. Give them wisdom and presence of mind and an open heart. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and be seated. All right, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Mr. Stuber.
Here.
Mr. Tripp.
Here.
Mr. Richard Harris.
Here.
Miss Freddie Harris.
Here.
Mr. Wiley.
Here.
Mr. Eaton.
Here.
Mr. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Westcott is absent. We have a quorum.
All right, a quorum has been declared. Council, you received the minutes from May in your packets. If there are no corrections or statements about it, I would entertain a motion to approve. We have a motion, Mr. Wiley, second. Second, Mr. Brown. All in favor of approval of the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Finance report, this will not be Jerry McCohen. This will be Ms. Holstein.
General fund revenues for May was $963,181. That was 2.74% above year-to-date projections. Sales tax receipts were $763,383. Franchise fees and permits was $108,518. General fund expenditures were $951,902, 2.89% above year-to-date projections. $14,494 more was receipted than expended. Street fund revenues were $219,234, 0.49% below year-to-date projections. Sales tax receipts were $299,126. New 1/2 cent sales tax was $46,042. General fund street fund expenditures were $183,975, 2.5% above year-to-date projections. Sales tax improvements was $19,468. Capital was $148,044. Economic development revenues were $57,245. $54,134 new sales tax, $3,111 for interest. Expenditures were $89 for park equipment and $113,179 for Depot Park. Capital asset revenues were $330,930. $326,824 was new sales tax. $4,106 was interest. Expenditures were $232,916 for City Corporation, Aquatic Center, Police, HVAC, Park Special, and Airport.
That it?
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Holstein? Thank you, Connie. That brings us to the mayor's report, which I would be willing to dispense with tonight. If anybody on the council wants to make a motion to move new business 2 into this spot.
I would make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
All right, everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we will proceed to new business item 2, because I feel like there may be some interest today in that.
Mayor, I move we suspend the rules and read one time by title only.
Second.
We have a motion to suspend the rules, read one time by title only, and a second. All in favor of the motion to suspend the rules signify by saying aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mayor, clarification, please.
Yes, sir.
Was that for one reading only?
One reading,
Or 3 readings?
one reading only.
Yeah. you're
For all 3 readings.
You want all 3 readings?
Right.
Everybody okay on that?
I'm
All
sorry.
3? Yeah.
One time.
All right. Mr. Smith?
An ordinance rezoning certain realty in the city of Russellville, Arkansas, and for the purposes, this ordinance, if passed, would rezone property located at 311 North Arkansas Avenue, currently zoned C1 to C2.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Okay, before we go any further, we have representatives here from Casey's that have asked to speak. We've got a total of 14 people signed up to speak on this item. Somebody that's good at math, what's 14 times 5? How many minutes would we be looking at?
70.
Council has the option of
Mayor, I
limiting.
make a motion we let no more than 5 speak for 5 minutes each.
Okay,
I second
second, Mr. Harris. All in favor of suspending the rules and limiting debate, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. You'd like to go first, please?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, my name is Doug Beach, and I'm legal counsel for Casey's General Stores. With me tonight is the members of our real estate department, Jesse Godfrey, Tanner Westberg, Joni Dyer, and one of our law clerks for this year, Melissa Brewer. So thank you for inviting us down and letting us have an opportunity to visit tonight. We have a short PowerPoint that we're going to go through rather quickly to try to keep within your time limits here a little bit. So we'll go through that. We are here tonight on one matter. We are asking that you pass the rezoning of a portion of the Talkington property and vacate their alley from C1 to C2. This will allow us to have a gas at this location. Your city staff and your city planner have recommended approval, as has your planning commission. We believe it is in with the character of the neighborhood to rezone this property, and it conforms to your comprehensive plan. We see nothing under Arkansas law that would stop you from rezoning this, and again would ask you to do that. So we would ask you to rezone tonight. I want to go through a little bit of history on Casey's. We understand that you have one issue tonight, and that issue is rezoning, but there's been a lot of discussion in the community that we haven't had a chance to participate in a little bit. So if you'd indulge us a little bit, understand the issue tonight is rezoning, but wanted to go through a little PowerPoint on the history of the company if you don't mind. So I'll appreciate go through it a little bit. We're a publicly traded company based out of Iowa in 14 states. We've been in existence since about 1968. We have approximately 1,933 convenience stores. We're the second largest company-owned convenience store chain in the country, and we're like I said, in Arkansas. You can see we've been in Arkansas for the last 5 years and have approximately 33 stores in Arkansas, and have been proud to be down here and a member of your state. It's treated us well. Our bread and butter from Casey's standpoint is small towns, just like your community here. 53% of our stores are in towns of 5,000 or less, and only about 19% are in communities above 20,000. understand you're about a community of 29,000. You're right in that community that we're fortunate to serve in our area. So we think we fit in well with your community. One of the things, even though we are a larger company, we have a community focus, and we're very proud of that. We have a contributions committee that meets for a number of hours every Monday morning and gives back to the community. Give you some examples of the first sites there are local celebrations and things in some of our Arkansas stores, and we give away a lot of pizza and a lot of donuts, so a lot of water for baseball teams and everything like that. We also give to national organizations too, Salvation Army, March of Dimes, Easter Seals, and those kind of things, and we're very proud of it. That's part of our heritage and part of our mission. If we're lucky enough to come to your community, we will also do that here. Here's one of the slides of some of our folks that participate in the community. One of the slides on the far right I really want to call your attention to. 3 times our company has sponsored honor flights where we've sent our veterans, rented that plane you can see there and flown them out to D.C. to see their monument, and we've been very proud of that. We've done that 3 times, 2 times for World War II vets and once for Korean vets, and it was a great experience for us. All our products come out of our distribution center in Ankeny, so you'll get delivered directly from us. We control our quality, we control our delivery and stuff to make sure you get that stuff delivered on time and fresh. Have a new facility in Terre Haute that at some point might take over the Arkansas market. One of the things we try to do is be good stewards with our resources, and have taken advantage over the last number of years to try to do some more green things with LEDs and stuff for our coolers. So we're proud of that. This new store would have some of that information in it as well, and those products. We offer about 3,000 products in the store. We're very proud of that. We serve a whole bunch of needs for the community in that regard. Things from pet supplies and housewares, and along with our food program. There's a picture of our grocery items. Our tagline is Casey's is famous for pizza. We sell the 5th most pizza in the country, and we're proud of it. So if you haven't tried Casey's Pizza, please do that. It's one of the great things we have. One of our great things about our stores are our prepared food items. We're very proud of that and have great quality with that. Here's some of the donuts we bake in the store on a daily basis. Make pizza, of course, like I mentioned. Our new stores will have made-to-order subs, too, when you can come in. This is an example of our new store interior. Expanded coffee bar on the end cap there. You'll see we have some more healthy items that come in, like fruits and vegetables and drinks, smoothies, and things like that. It's our expanded coffee section. This is what we're really proud of. This is one of our examples of our newer stores that was just recently completed. Hip roof, nice looking store, well maintained, well designed. There's an example a little closer of the hip roof that we proposed to bring to Russellville as well. This is one of the things that I really want to show you. We get a lot of comments that we're going to bother the neighbors and we're going to cause disturbances. This is a good picture of the store at night with the new directional lighting. It makes sure the store is safe, which we want to do, but it also keeps the light on the store. This is another example of how that lighting works. So it doesn't bleed over to the neighbor's property, it stays right there. We're very proud of that and do a good job of trying to facilitate our neighbors with that. This is the property we're going to hopefully rezone tonight and buy and put a new store on. It's been in town for sale for quite some time. An old Rally's restaurant, I'm told. We think we can improve that substantially on that corner. That's what we think it's going to look like when it's done. That's the after picture. That's a diagram what we think that store will sit, and we think it'll be a great addition and a great improvement to that corner. There's that site at night. Again, no bleed over. Not going to bother the neighbor. Not going to bother anybody else that's in close proximity to that location. Again, here's from the other angle. Seeing that where you see the used car lot and the other property there. Again, this is that other example there of how that goes. and again, the final result. So that's the end of our presentation. I wanted to keep it to your time limits and keep that as close as I could to that 5 minutes. But we are here to answer any of your questions, or if you need any additional information, I'm here to entertain those as well.
I do have a question. In the pictures that I'm looking at here, the artist rendition where you put your store on the property of question, there appears to be some green space there. Obviously, if we rezone this to C2 tonight, we have no say in how much green space you put in. You could concrete the whole thing. But your artist rendition shows some green space here. So I for one, have always been very concerned about the aesthetics and the buildings and the architectural design and things of business coming into Russellville. So can you speak to that?
You
Give me some
bet. I can
confidence
speak to that. As you know, we'll have a large-scale review come through, and we'll have a chance to deal with that in more depth. But we will have some green space on this site. I mean, where that's going to be and how much we'll need to put in, we'll do that. But yes, we like to have some of that too. It makes the site look better. It blends in with the neighborhood a little bit better. So yes, I think we'll make sure we'll have some green space.
Any other questions?
Thank you
All
for your
right,
time.
thank you. Does anybody else want to speak on behalf of new business too? No? All right, we had 11 other people sign up to speak on that item. I'm assuming they're all against. Council voted to limit debate to 5, I believe, Mr. Wiley. We've got those 11 numbers in a cup, Ms. Clerk. I think the most unbiased people not the only, but the most unbiased people is our local media. If all of you wouldn't mind, we're going to let Kathy bring these numbers back. Each of you pick one, and then Ms. Nokleby, if you would, pick 2. And that's how we will determine who of the 11 gets to speak toward this item. Yeah, just bring keep the ones that were pulled separate and bring them back up here, and we'll go through them one at a time. Ms. Harris, you keep an eye on this.
I will.
All right. Betty Tucker signed up to speak. Ms. Tucker, you here, Ms. Tucker? Would you step to the... Oh, you're going to speak on another issue?
Number 3.
Okay, you want to speak on item 3. Okay.
No.
All right. Let's go to the next one, and we'll... one of y'all come up here. Johnny? Where's the other number? Still in here? Who else we got?
B.
All right, it looks like Ray Balashar. Yeah, Ray. Either microphone is fine. There's one here and one at the podium over there.
The one in the center. Right there in the center.
Oh. Can everyone? Sorry. Well, I'll just bend down a little bit. Can everyone hear me?
Here you have.
Sorry. I'm holding in my hand here a position from change.org. that was going around. I'm sure everyone here is aware of it. There are nearly just less than 1,000 signatures on here of people from Polk County that would like to see the rezoning not happen. So I will bring these forward if you guys wish to peruse those at all. I guess I'll go ahead and read this little letter here. Sorry I was handed this. We're not sure since the speaking was cut down. The community has raised some concerns regarding the rezoning request by Casey's General Store. Initially it came as a surprise, but after researching and speaking with multiple parties about what this all means for the community, as well as the possibilities for the library, we acknowledge there are multiple perspectives to this issue and that they all matter. After gathering nearly 1,000 signatures and more than 200 comments on this issue, one thing is clear. Transparency and communication from the local government would help ease the community's concerns when matters like this arise. This issue just so happens to involve a space near the library, which the community is very passionate about seeing grow in its current downtown location. Though we understand that an empty lot is not ideal, we believe there are ways to remedy that until an appropriately zoned business can acquire the lots in question. We urge you to carefully consider leaving the property zoned as is. We appreciate all you do for our community and hope this issue comes to a conclusion that is most beneficial to the local citizens and won't detract from the existing businesses in the area. Now that that is done, I'd like to speak, that's a little better actually. I'd like to speak personally as a downtown property owner, board member for Main Street Russellville. I don't feel that this rezoning fits in with the downtown master plan or what Russellville really needs. I would urge the council to not act on this, or maybe to act on this, as to not making Russellville turn into more, I'm not sure what the word is, mundane places such as Dallas, where we have these corporate interests. Nothing against Casey's. They have a great convenience store, but I don't see the need for it downtown in that area. I think we should shoot more for allowing smaller businesses to come in there and look to maybe what Little Rock is doing as far as their South Main neighborhood or some other places, unless we just really want to see Russellville become just like everywhere else in the country. We should look to our more small town values. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead and bring it up here. Next is Stuart Berkeley. Did I get that name right? Berkeley Stewart, okay.
Berkeley Stewart.
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry.
I'm a lapsed Arkansan. I have recently moved to Russellville. I grew up in Clay County, graduated from Little Rock Central and UALR, and I've just moved back to the area to take care of my mom. I hope you'll indulge me tonight. I'm going to read fast. I have only recently moved back from Southern California, 25 years. I grew up in Clay County. I applied for a library card almost immediately upon my arrival and have been supporting them ever since in my usual fashion with excessive overdue fines. I am not going to villainize Casey's. They seem to be a profitable company with a good reputation. They present a respectable case for themselves. But as the gentleman before said, I just don't think it's the right thing for this place. What I learned in the library recently is that Russellville Downtown Historic District was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1996 for its association with the commercial development of Russellville and its collection of late 19th and early 20th century commercial style architecture. The library, the city of Russellville, and Arkansas Tech invested many thousands of dollars in fees for several complementary master plans for the economic and cultural development of the city. The library has planned all along to purchase those properties for a LEED certified expansion with all the trimmings and had been working diligently toward that end, but the properties had not come up for sale. They currently have a third of the asking price. So 2 points from the library's guiding principles for the master plan were to remodel and expand the existing Russellville Library, requiring the acquisition of the full city block, and assume change would happen and plan accordingly. This unfortunate clash could have been prevented if the master plan had been consulted with a meeting of the interested parties. Russellville has a beautiful start on an experience of a place with the blossoming downtown area. Anyone could see that a lot of love, money, and effort has gone into the revival. But one drives down Highway 7 and never knows the place is there. I did for months, back and forth to the nursing home in Dardanelle. If a few blocks on either side of Main Street were developed in the same way into an attractive gateway, it would attract attention, announce the town, and welcome visitors with a taste of what lies ahead. Plans for the library to front Highway 7 right about there would be perfect as part of a gateway entrance. The civic presence of the library would communicate a powerful commitment to learning and community. Libraries preserve the memory of our society, provide the accounts of our experience and the tools to navigate them. It teaches us what books can do, shows us our responsibilities toward one another, helps us question our values and undermine our prejudices, and leads us to courage and ingenuity. Everywhere in the U.S. and around the world, revived, repurposed downtowns are forming the nucleuses of booming regional economies. They are luring developers to restore and repurpose remnants of industrial urban past and are being transformed into contemporary successes all over the place. I can assure you it won't look foolish or hostile to business if you were to decide to vote for the library and for the people of Russellville in this matter. Work with them while they come up with the remainder of the purchase price for the property. On the contrary, you would be heroes. I beseech you to decide not to go against the grain, against the flow, and the desire and passion and industriousness and dreams of the entire blossoming, promising downtown community for one person's real estate commission and an out-of-town franchisee. Thank you.
All right, y'all mind, we're trying to work this through here, and we're really trying to do our best, but can we limit the applause until we get to the end, please? Stephen Higgins is next.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Steve Higgins, and I'm here speaking as a board member of the Pope County Library System Foundation. As was pointed out previously, there are good things to say about Casey's General Store. They're number 2 in the nation in their market, so clearly they're doing something right. Could they provide some benefit to Russellville? I think probably, but I submit to you that I would submit not to change the ordinance because I don't think their proposed location is the right location. The reason I say that is not just because of all the money that the library has invested in developing their own master plan, which contemplates acquiring the same property that Casey's wants to acquire, but also because it runs counter to the downtown master plan. I see it was revised March 8th, 2013. And I reviewed that before this evening, and I see that the library is weighed heavily in the master plan. It's actually referred to as an anchor by the master planners. It's something within the master plan they contemplate for it to expand. Also, just in terms of the zoning issue, they have on page 113 a diagram of the downtown area and how it's currently zoned. And what they explain is that basically you want everything to be C1. If it's C2, according to this report, they suggest that you change it to C1 because that would be more advantageous to what the master plan wants to do. Today, we're looking to go in the opposite direction. We're taking something that's C1 and trying to rezone it to C2, which runs counter to the revitalization efforts contemplated by the master plan. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you. I think this name is Garrett Broland. If I've messed that up, I apologize. Good.
Hi, I'll make this short and sweet. I'm speaking as both a downtown business owner and a former resident of the house directly across the street from the library, very close to the property, right across the street from the property. There's been a lot of concerns raised with all of this. I think what was spoken about in the letter earlier from Voices of the Valley is a lack of transparency with issues like this. Many of us found out about that this was going on about 30 minutes before the meeting via email, saying, sorry, this is so late, but if you want to come, they're deciding the fate of this block. And there just seems to be a lack of transparency with these issues on letting us, as the people who live here, know what's going on. I lived right across the street. I hadn't heard anything about it. And I can tell you, as a resident of that part of the neighborhood, how many people come in and out of the library a day. It's unreal how many people use that. And that is the lifeblood of that part of town right there. You know, the library has their plan together. And I also propose that it's not necessary. You think about what a Casey's would bring to that spot. You can literally get every single thing within 100 feet. There's a gas station there already that would close, which, you know, what do you get when you have an empty gas station sitting there? I don't have to tell you. There is a tobacco store right across the street. Talk about pizza. Brick Oven is right across the street, and I think a lot of people in this town would like to support local business, and that would hurt them. That would hurt Dollar General. It's really, truly unnecessary, and that's me as someone who lives there. So, thank you.
Okay, I respect everybody's opinion, but I'm going to take exception to the 2 times that transparency has been mentioned. Unless I'm missing something, we have never had a meeting in the dark on this. If you're not getting the media reports, that's not something that this council can do something about. So I'd prefer not to hear that again. I respect these people. I worked with them for a long time, and insinuating that they're doing some kind of a backroom deal by using the word transparency, we'll end debate immediately if that's where we're going to go. I've got one here that says Danielle Hausnick.
Danielle Hausnick. I'm just speaking as a citizen of Russellville. I'm a resident. I'm a mom. I've volunteered at the library. I've volunteered with other organizations in the community. And what I see in the library, as others have mentioned, are just so many people there, so many patrons of all different income levels. And when I look around this room, I see some of those people that I've personally seen and encountered in the library. I don't believe that the proposed business would have the same effect for our small town. I also want to add that I have an 8-year-old daughter who is an avid reader and accompanies me to the library for summer reading, to volunteer, and to check out materials. And her library card is the proudest thing that she possesses. And that's our future. And I think we can all agree that that's how we want Russellville to go. We want to nurture our future. That's all.
Thank you. I believe that's our 5. Council, how do you want to proceed from here? You want to hear anybody else?
I'm interested to know if there's anyone in support of Casey's.
Does anybody else want to speak in support?
Mr. Mayor, was there somebody that raised their hand to speak in favor of that? I think.
You want to speak in favor, or? Council, you want to hear any more, or have you? Municipal League guidelines say that the council meeting is time to hear from the council, so it's up to you.
Well, if we continue this, we could be here for another hour or two listening to as many as there is here that's against it. You always get the ones that are against something, but you never get the ones that are for something. So I think we've heard from enough.
Mr. Mayor, there is someone that has a hand raised back there at this point in time, if we accept it.
It's up to the council. You want to speak towards, for the motion or against it?
I would like to speak for the city.
Okay.
My name is Deborah D. Jeanette, and my comment is in concern for the steering committee in reference to planning for the future of Russellville. One of the issues that we discussed on that committee is zoning ordinances. We have an issue with zoning ordinance being set in place, and then for whatever reason, those zoning issues or ordinances change. We have a plan, we have a future set in stone for, well, not necessarily set in stone, but a plan set for the future of Russellville. And that future depends on the zoning issues and the zoning codes that are currently in place. And if these are changed now, and I personally have no issue with Casey's, none whatsoever at all. But what about the next place? You know, and the next place down the line when you want to try to preserve something else, or when you want to make sure that something else is protected. My concern is the zoning issues that are currently in place for the city of Russellville that have been put in place for a reason. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Mr. Mayor,
I do need to point out 2/3 of this property is currently zone C2. I mean, they could put this development on that 2/3 without even having to come for approval, so.
where are we in regard to the vote on this ordinance?
I believe we have a motion and a second to adopt. If everybody's through with discussion, everybody done? All right. And this is a.
May I say one
Yeah,
thing
sure,
on this?
Sure.
I do appreciate the efforts and enthusiasm by many people in the community over this issue. So regardless of the outcome, I think there's something to be said for the passion that we could maybe turn that not in a last-minute effort, but let's turn it and use it for the good for the whole community, looking ahead like the lady just spoke of about the plan and long term. We need to turn this passion forward so we can actually make some good progress going forward overall.
Very good. Anybody else? This is an ordinance. Ms. Clerk, would you call the roll?
Mr. Stuber,
Yes.
Mr. Eaton,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Wiley,
Yes.
Ms. Freddie Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Richard Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Tripp.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Council, would you consider backing up and doing item 1? That is also part of this
May-
same initiative, I believe.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask a question? Is there a need or a desire for an emergency on this particular item?
Arkansas law, well, by our ordinance, this would take effect 30 days from today. We can do an emergency clause and it can take effect tonight if that makes a difference for your financing or anything like that. Do you want to ask for that, or?
I had been asked
Okay.
in that regard, and I would make a motion that we accept the emergency or
Second.
invoke the emergency clause on that.
All right, we got a motion by Mr. Eaton, a second by Mr. Stuber. All in favor of adopting the emergency clause? Or we need to call the roll on that too. Go ahead, call the roll.
Mr. Eaton?
Yes.
Mr. Stuber?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Wiley?
Yes.
Ms. Freddie Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Richard Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Tripp?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Paper copy of number one. Yeah, you do. Have to use it 'cause this thing died.
Are we to number one again?
This thing died.
All right, we want to consider doing number one, and it's the other part of this ordinance. It's this closing the alley, recommended by the planning commission.
Okay.
All right. We'll do new business one and get this conclusion on that. Do I hear a motion?
Is that an ordinance?
Move.
Yes.
Make the motion, we suspend the rules, read by title only with short explanation.
Second.
Motion and a second to suspend the rules. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. New business number one.
An ordinance vacating and abandoning parts of the vacant alley north of lots 5, 6, 7, and 8, and south of lots 9, 10, 11, and 12, Block 61, JL Shin Edition, City of Russellville, Arkansas, and for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would close the alley that runs between the aforementioned lots on Block 61 of the JL Shin Edition.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
You gotta have a hearing.
Public hearing.
You gotta declare a hearing first.
All right. We'll declare a public hearing open and listen to any input that anybody wants to give us. Public hearing concerning closing the alley, basically the alley between these two properties.
That's the last one I needed on, I think.
Okay. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. All right. Public hearing is closed. Council, I'd entertain a motion.
I think we made that motion
We did?
a moment ago. If you'll accept that, Mr. Mayor.
All right, then. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Wiley?
Yes.
Mr. Stuber?
Yes.
Mr. Eaton?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Freddie Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Tripp?
Yes.
Mr. Richard Harris?
Yes.
Motion carries.
And petitioner has requested you consider the emergency clause on this as well.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept or go forward with the emergency clause in regard to this.
Motion, Mr. Eaton.
Second.
Second on the emergency clause, is that Mr. Brown?
Albert?
Right.
Mr. Wiley?
Okay.
Sorry.
Call the roll on that.
Mr. Eaton?
Yes.
Mr. Wiley?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Freddie Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Richard Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Tripp?
Yes.
And Mr. Stuber?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Back to the agenda. Where were we? Department report. Thank you. Community Development and Code Enforcement. Mr. Holstein, what's going on?
I am not prepared. Melissa, she was going to do the report, but I got to read the status portion.
I apologize.
Thanks, Council. Our community development year-to-date status for the business permits, having 60 new businesses in the city of Russellville. Collections were $69,225 year-to-date. We have 88 residential building permits that total $10,119.34. 37 commercial building permits totaling $8,493.45. We also have issued electrical permits totaling, 135 electrical permits totaling $5,750.50. Also, we've issued 63 HVAC permits totaling $2,170, 62 plumbing permits totaling $1,226. Total money received for these permits was $31,005.79, as well as a total estimated cost of construction for both commercial and residential at $6,734,434. And code enforcement has opened up 422 cases. Incidents having closed is 335. Incidents current right now is 217. And we all know the grass is growing and they're going to get really busy here in the next few weeks. But also our facility maintenance has taken on 325 projects that have saved the city outside contract help. I'm not prepared. Thank you very much, guys.
Anybody want a question, Mr. Holstein?
No.
Thank you, Brian. Okay.
Brian, where are you headed next?
Committee reports. Mr. Tripp?
Thank you, Mayor. We met, Finance Committee met 2 times this month. Once, the first time was about 2 weeks ago, and then again this evening for this meeting. From our previous meeting this month, item number 1 is a recommendation of airport lease extensions from a committee put together and then voted on by the Finance Committee. And I was not at the meeting, but so if I state something here, Mr. Frazier, or anybody that's incorrect, please correct me. The committee recommended to the Finance Committee, and the Finance Committee is recommending this in form of a motion to the full council to allow all airport hangar owners an extension that will extend to 40 years from the original built date of the hangar, or initiation of the lease.
That, not to do that.
He was
I
gonna
thought
bring
the
it back.
hangar committee voted for the, right.
Our
Mr.
Brian, we
Mr.
got
Tripp,
7 years to,
we got 2 different meetings. Mr. Tripp, I believe you're talking about the recommendation from the hangar committee, correct?
I thought, it was my understanding the Finance Committee adopted that recommendation.
No, Finance
Okay.
Committee adopted a different one.
Okay. Mr. Eaton, would you care to fill this in since you were acting
All
chairman at that
I
time?
know was that there was considerable discussion around that, Mr. Chairman, but the final decision on that was to allow all hangar leases, regardless of what length they have remaining on those leases, to expire. And then they will be dealt with or considered individually at that point.
Is there something in writing on this issue? I mean, it sounds like there's a little bit of confusion in what the motion actually is. I'd like to see something in writing on what I'm voting for here, I think, before I would feel comfortable voting tonight.
Well,
I don't think we had an ordinance or nothing that night, did we?
we didn't have anything before us, and I want to say
Is
the
it
world's
fair,
best city clerk was on vacation that night, and we had a stand-in, and somehow apparently there's no minutes on this.
is it fair to say that no action would be in support of this particular issue? Then I would suggest we don't move on this and move on.
Yeah, Mr. Westcott wanted to wait on it
I'm sorry?
anyway.
We had a lot of discussion
Yeah.
on this thing, and I thought we were moving forward with it, so.
Yeah. Well, I know what the motion was, and those there all were in agreement to let them expire.
So if we
Now,
vote on this tonight, then all we're doing is agreeing on what's already in place. We're not really enacting anything new.
If you were to vote for the Finance Committee recommendation, yeah, you'd be leaving it to where it is, which is pretty close to what the FAA compliance offices told us, that they recommend that you do them as they come due and decide
Not-
which you know, maybe extending it is the best thing for the airport. Maybe, I mean, they try not to mind your business too much, but, their goal is to get the airport to 100% compliance. And, you know, depending on the time and the place and the situation, you know, the right decision tonight may be totally the wrong decision 8 or 9 years from now, which I believe is when the next hangar lease comes up. And that's why they recommend you do them as they come due.
So really, the only reason we would vote on this tonight is to put this issue to bed, so that we don't have to
Correct.
waste any more time discussing it until the first lease expires.
Right.
Okay, I'm in favor of that.
Mayor, that was in form, what Mr. Eaton said was in form of a motion from the Finance Committee to the full
Now,
council.
would you restate that, Mr.?
Yes, what the Finance Committee that met on May the 19th recommended was that we would recommend that all leases not be extended as per the request from the Airport Commission, and to let each one expire as they run out.
All right, council, you heard the motion. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
I think it's pretty clear the motion carried. Mr. Tripp?
Item number 2, a reallocation of sales tax currently being collected from the 1-cent sales tax to from the street distribution to the Aquatic Center for 11 months of $87,000. That was passed by the Finance Committee to present to the council in form of a motion.
Council, you heard the motion. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 3 and 4, $3 million appropriation for the Aquatic Center, $1.5 million appropriation for the new fire station. I'll present those combined in a motion to the full council from the Finance Committee.
So your motion is for both 3 and 4?
Yes.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Then from tonight's meeting, Mayor, we had a couple items. Consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk treasurer to sign a one-year extension to the lease agreement with City Corporation for the operation of the City of Russellville water and sewer system. That was voted by the committee to present to the council in form of a motion.
All right, council, you've heard the motion. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Last item, discussion involving the settlement of a potential claim against the city and its accompanying release. That was stated by Mr. Smith, $7,500 settlement plus 6 months of insurance, approximately $2,000, so almost $7,500, plus a letter of good standing, as Mr. Smith stated it, and he read it in the Finance Committee. That was voted on by the Finance Committee to present to the council in form of a motion.
All right, council, you've heard the motion. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
We better call the roll on that, sure.
Mr. Tripp?
No.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Eaton?
Yes.
Mr. Wiley?
Yes.
Ms. Freddie Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Richard Harris?
No.
Mr. Stuper?
Yes.
5 to 2, motion carries.
Motion carries.
Mayor, that concludes our Finance Committee report for this month.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Stuber, does the Personnel Committee have any business tonight?
Mayor, I have nothing to report this evening.
All right, thank you, sir. That'll take us to unfinished business number 1.
Mr. Mayor, I brought this item up, and I'm still, I'd like to make a recommendation that we extend Mr. Wiley's time at least 10 more days. I think this is an issue that can be left undone at this time, Mr.
Thank
Mayor.
you, it's down. One more day and it'll be finished.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to say a thank you to Mr. Wiley for what he has
Absolutely.
undertaken on this.
Here, here, yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tripp, and the chair would entertain a motion to let Mr. Wiley do this for all dilapidated properties.
No, no.
Can we bring that back next month?
No, it's too hot.
Yeah.
Thank you all. And I guess that brings us to item 3 on new business, special use permit for a tire and repair shop, 101 East 3rd, submitted by Danny DeLeo.
Move,
Move. Second. There was somebody who wanted to talk on that, I think,
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor.
It's Mayor.
Yes,
It's time.
we are. Would you like to speak now?
Which one we on? That oh, resolution. Do we just do the resolution?
3 at the same time.
Mayor and members of the City Council, my name is Betty Tucker, and I'm owner of the adjoining property that you're issuing this special permit or taking it into consideration. One thing at the Planning Commission, I did not oppose this. I still do not oppose it as a whole. Can y'all hear me? But there is an issue that I would like for you to take under consideration, not only maybe for this property, but for special permits in the future. And now, first of all, the building, my building is leased the front of it to a church. It's a very small church. And, but they've been there 3 years, so God must be looking after them. Now, so we need to consider, I don't know if Mr. Danny stays open on weekends, on Sundays. He does not, do y'all know?
They shouldn't be.
Do
Is
not
he
stay
here?
open on
No,
I was
didn't think so.
concerned about tires and repairs and hammering for these people that are leasing this building for me. And then, of course, the back of the building I use for storage, and those are for customers. And we do have pest control, but I do want to address some items here. The city council can authorize or you can deny. But we don't want you denied. But you may prescribe appropriate conditions and safeguards as deemed necessary. And the item that I want you to consider is, I thought maybe they would read that again tonight, but they didn't. There's a holding area. They call it a holding area. In all of the ones that I've looked at that are similar, these are nothing but mini salvage yards in the middle of this C2 zone. And we're getting these special permits passed, and evidently they're not being enforced or looked after they are approved. Because I want you to go with me. I know you know where, did y'all look, any of you look at the properties that we're talking about right now? Anybody?
Ms. Tucker?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
At the Planning Commission, and you talked about this, and Mr. Garza spoke up when you talked about the one right there adjacent to you that was parking stuff out, and he said he would take care of that. Did that get remedied?
Well, I think he moved it to the other side of the building.
Okay.
Do you think I should hand those pictures out?
Well, I mean, I saw them at the Planning Commission, but I knew that you were talking about the same thing that you talked about at the Planning
I do
Commission.
not oppose the car lot, the used car lot, and Danny's working very, very hard over there. He's improving that property greatly, but I just don't want to come down several years now and deal with this mini salvage yard that creates vermin and things that are mentioned in the zoning code. So you are allowed to make some conditions on these permits according to page 36 of the zoning code.
May I interrupt you, ma'am?
Yes, you
I'm
can.
sorry. I don't know, I was not at that planning commission meeting. Were there any conditions considered or?
They're listed here in the ordinance.
I was
And
looking for
Ms.
that.
Tucker,
I didn't-
and she's right on. We issue the special permits and then
That's-
they're not
okay.
followed up on. And when someone gets a special permit, she would like for the city to do a better follow-up thereafter. Because next to her was a piece of property that had a special permit, but they weren't abiding by it. But Mr. Garza was at the meeting and he
Okay.
said he would take care of that matter.
Well, I thought there was, I'm looking
Okay,
at
but
this, I
similar,
thought there
but
was.
similar also, if you'll go around to 4th Street in Knoxville, to Rocky's Car Corral that's been there for I don't know how long, if you will go around on 4th Street, there's a little mini salvage yard behind. Now, these holding areas I thought were for cars that were being repaired and would be there, get repaired and move out. There's cars that's been there forever. They're not. They're salvaged. They've had their innards taken out and they're no longer alive. And also, my property on 2nd Street, if you'll go on up Knoxville, turn on 2nd Street, go down toward the district court, there on the left, we have another mini salvage yard right there. And sitting on the street, Miss Harris will remember this, there is a boat that has been burned and it's black, and then there's a truck sitting in front of it. It's still there. And according to the code, it isn't supposed to be outside that fence anyway. And inside that fence are carports, washing machines. So in my little area right here, we have property over on 2nd Street and then this on 3rd Street. I'm dealing with it right here. And then, and Danny may be gonna take care of this. I just don't want the salvage yard right next to my fence.
Ms. Tucker says here on item B of section 2, the area east of the primary structure be structured from use for the parking of vehicles for repair or use as a vehicle repair storage area. Is that the part that you're concerned about that may turn into a salvage yard?
Well, I don't think they were ever meant to be salvage yards. I don't think it's been followed up on, and these cars have been moved out. I don't know how they do it. I mean, the nature of the business, you have a certain amount of salvage, but to me, it should be moved on out. And
Well, this specifically says it's vehicles for repair or use as vehicle repair storage area, so
for repair.
that vehicle repair storage area concerns me because that seems to be pretty open-ended, that I could put a car out there for eternity and say that that's a repair storage facility, a vehicle, and there would be nothing we could do about it.
Yeah, but when you look at it and it's not runnable,
That's what I'm saying.
or it doesn't have a motor in it.
No, I agree with you, I agree with you.
And the grass is growing up like this, and I get Roundup.
So there's a difference between parking vehicles for repair and parking vehicles as a vehicle repair storage area. Salvage is another term we use there. Might as well strike that out, put salvage yard, right?
Well, salvage yards also require 10 feet fence, and opaque covering. But in the city, Mr. Moore told me only 6 feet. You could only go 6 feet. So I'm calling these mini salvage yards. They're calling them holding pens or holding areas. Danny might be able to give us a better idea on it than I am, but I don't oppose his. I want to see anyone do
You
good.
want the city to follow up on our special permit uses. That's what you.
Yes, and I wanted it documented in the files because I don't want to go down the road
Well, let's,
And well, why didn't you mention this at the time?
leave that to the mayor, let the mayor handle that. Mayor?
I think that Ms. Tucker has a viable request here, very much so. If I were the neighbor, I would want that to be followed. And I had a sidebar discussion here with Mr. Tripp that some way we need to capture all of these special use permits that we approve in the city and periodically review each one to ensure that they are meeting the stipulations or conditions that were set forth in the ordinance that approve them, or resolution, whatever the case may be. So I think that's something we ought to look at as a council, or let the mayor look at it, and
Won't you let me and Mr. Holstein and Mr. Clark
Yeah.
take a look at that?
I agree.
Everybody be around tomorrow?
There is a way for us to monitor that. It's got to be, and it gets out of hand sometimes, because all of the special use permits that we do in the city of Russell throughout year to year, and I'm talking about this year, or last year, or the year before,
Yeah.
10 years ago, we're talking about a long time.
Yeah.
There's got to be a way, I'm telling you right now, there is a lot of issues on special use permit that we just don't have a clue sometimes 20 years ago what they did on special
Yeah.
use permit. So, yeah, I agree with her, and our code enforcement officer agrees to, we're just gonna have to figure out a way to take all our special uses, get them back into code enforcement, and let him try to bend through these.
Yeah, I agree.
Tall grass and everything.
Yeah.
We'll get together tomorrow and address that.
Do we need to make any changes to the ordinance?
I was gonna recommend a change to the ordinance. I'd like to hear from the property owner to see if he just, what I'd like to do is strike out that last part where it says or use as a vehicle repair storage area. But I'll give you a chance to respond to that before I'll make that motion. Yeah, you can, right there.
Go to that in there.
As far as, I purchased the property, sir, so I'm not there to trash it. I've got a lot of money invested, and we're doing a lot of improvements. So I'm not looking to have a salvage yard there by no means. What we did, I think Dave had you a pic, or a drawing of the whole property itself. There's a 40 by one, I think like 120 or 140 building that sits there. On the west side, we'll be doing a chain link fence with the privacy. There's a green fiber that they sell for the privacy so she doesn't get disturbed. But I mean, at some point, I've got to have a place to park a car if I have to wait on parts or something else. By no means am I trying to be a Bearfields or a pick and pull or nothing else. Those are not my intentions. And then the east side would be where we would have our car lot, where it would be between 7T to the building there. I mean, and it will be following the guideline, I mean, whatever ordinances we need as far as either concrete, asphalt. I think Barrett's and Associates did the drawing for us.
Thank you. I make a motion that we adopt the resolution with the caveat that we exclude the section in item B, Bravo of section 2, where it says or use as a vehicle repair storage area. Strike that from the resolution. Make that in form of motion.
Not to use it, or just?
I'll second that to have discussion.
Okay, discussion, Mr. Tripp?
Property owner have any objection to that?
Oh, I mean, as far as that goes, I mean, I'm not understanding. I mean, I won't be able to park any cars there? Is that what
No,
you're
sir.
saying, or?
No, sir. It specifically says in item B that that structure be structured from use for the parking of vehicles for repair. So you may park vehicles for repair there, but we're.
Yes, sir, on the west side, which would be between,
On
is
the
that
east
where-
side, the area on the east side of the structure be structured from use for the parking of vehicles for repair. Mr. Smith, am I reading that correctly?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, so what this says on the east side, that you can put vehicles there for repair, but you can't but we're gonna strike the part that says that you can use it as a vehicle repair storage area.
Okay. I mean,
I
can I
don't think
see
he
it, or
understands.
can I see what you're talking? Can I-
Certainly, certainly.
What,
We're
just-
talking, I think there's some confusion
yeah, I do too.
in how the the resolution is worded here and what the property owner received from the planning commission and what we're trying to do here this evening.
Well, she didn't have a problem with him going in there. She just wants to make sure that those cars don't sit there for an indefinite period of time.
He's already stated that he wasn't.
That was my understanding as well.
But so has other people said it, and yet the cars are being parked for indefinite periods, and not just cars, other items also.
Mayor, let's do something.
Mayor,
Okay, Mr. Stuber?
Are you through with me?
Yes.
May I
Yeah.
say one more thing? I have not been to a
Okay.
council, pardon?
Let's hear from Mr. Stuber real quick, please.
I'm
He's
sorry.
speaking down here.
I think we have a motion and a second
Yeah.
to approve this resolution
As written.
as it is. If we want to make changes, we need to make a motion to make changes to that
But-
resolution.
We gotta vote on yours first.
Making a motion to amend.
Okay. Just
This-
while we're discussing, go ahead, Ms. Tucker.
This is my first council meeting in a long time, and I want to commend you the way it's been run and so forth.
We're much more handsome than the previous council, is that what you're saying? Thank you, ma'am. Would it clean this up to put like a 30-day limit on it? Or any day, whatever, time limit?
Yeah, I'm flexible with that. I think it'll become a coding night. It's already a coding nightmare anyway, it sounds like, but for them to go out and mark vehicles that they've been out there 31 days is gonna be really tough.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you putting a time limit on it?
What's your amendment, Mr. Harris?
What my amendment does is allows the use to park vehicles there that are there for repair. If he's working on the vehicles, he's gotta wait on parts for that to come in, they can sit there and it's fine. But he can't park the vehicle there and say that's a vehicle repair storage area that I'm gonna use for parts and whatnot. So, but he could certainly park it there for repair. If it takes a week, if it takes 3 weeks, it's fine, as long as it's something he's working on to ultimately get back on the road.
You can bet I'm going to address every issue you talked about tonight, which is 9 up. And as long as we know we're going to try to enforce it.
Okay.
All right, so, Mr. Harris, you want to strike everything after the word repair?
That's correct.
Okay, everybody cool on that? Did we get a second? Mr. Tripp, did you second that? All right, so, yeah, let's vote on the amendment to strike everything on section 2B after the first word repair. In other words, our use as a vehicle repair storage area, all of that would be stricken. All in
So
favor?
if I understand it, B will just state that the area of the east of the primary structure be structured from use for the parking of vehicles for repair.
That's
sure-
correct.
That's sure a lot of wording.
I believe that's the way
a
it's
salvage
planned.
yard.
I think that's the way it came out. of
Structure to
plan-
be
planning.
structured, okay. From use for the parking of vehicles for repair. Can that be stated a little more plainly for me?
Well, let's not get, before we get tripped up, let's vote on the amendment first to take out that last part. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
No.
Okay, so the amendment fails. Now, do you want to make a motion to reword it somehow?
It's confusing as hell.
Leave it the way it is. Let's move on. Planning board approved it.
I mean, I don't know what we've accomplished for taking out use as a vehicle repair storage area.
Cause all he is, he's a mechanic, he's not gonna be a salvage yard. He's gonna fix the cars as they come in.
My intent remove that because that's a nebulous statement that can be interpreted many, many ways. And it can be, as long as that vehicle's sitting out there and I'm gonna use it for some purpose, it's a vehicle repair storage.
Well, the planning board approved this, so.
Did we have a motion on the main part of this thing?
We're working on a deal here. I don't think we do have, yeah, we've got a motion on the main deal.
Yeah.
But we're trying to work out B to the east. Read it to them, see if
Just
it-
change the wording.
Just a suggestion, if y'all would be willing to consider it, Mr. Smith.
Proposed section 2B, the area to the east of the primary structure be used only for the parking of vehicles for repair, period.
That's good.
All right.
We'll go for that.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
All right. We're voting on the amendment. Everybody, I think, understood that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now back to the main motion, which would be the resolution as a whole. I believe we got
Stuber and Brown.
Stuber and Brown. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Any objection? Very good.